Well, hey guys, and welcome back. Yeah, let's see what's on the bench today. It's a Johnson Viking Ranger, and I picked this up yesterday. A long width Johnson Viking 2. Now, you know, these things are from the 50s and the 60s, and they're a little bit crusty and rusty, but the radios are basically complete. And what these are, AM CW transmitters, if you've never seen these before. But it's a couple of pieces I've been wanting for a while, and I did some work for a guy and picked them up yesterday. In other words, I took these instead of payments. And we always can use money, but hey, when something like this comes along, you know, these are antiques, part of our history, and getting a little harder to find. And when you do find if they've already been restored, you know, it's going to cost quite a penny to get them. So these two units I get to restore. Now, looking at the Ranger, we can see that, you know, it's not perfect. We got some spots on it, you know, but hey, you know, all the writing is on it. You know, we got some nicks and scrapes, a few battle wounds, but it ain't nothing that can't be cleaned. See, the meter's quite dirty. Rust around the bezel. No, there's nothing wrong with the meter. They are dark, kind of like dark yellowish orange. Just needs a good cleaning. And no, I have not powered these up. A lot of work to be done before they power it. The biggest thing is get this thing, and I must probably start with the Ranger and take it apart and get it cleaned up, and then start the restoration process on it. So, you know, when something like this comes across the bench, before I even do anything to it, you know, I always just check controls and see what it is. I know, you know, the VFO works real smooth in this one, no problem at all. You know, everything seems to work good, all but when we get to the drive control knob. That's probably the first thing right there that tells you not to power it up, because there's voltage on this control. And if if I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I've worked on these. I think this is a wear around part inside. It's about that big around, so a good size part. So usually when they're like that, it's easy to be shorted to ground, so we don't even want to power it up until, you know, that's taken care of. The band switch just has some issues. There's a kind of a cam mechanism in here, very crude, and what it does through so many bands, you know, it just turns the switch in the back. But then over top of it there's a block that's milled out with a pins from another shaft that goes up into the VFO, and they got to engage, and I don't think they're engaging too good. In fact, it won't even go down into the 11 meter. So, and the problem, we wouldn't be using 11 meters anyway, but still it has to be fixed, you know. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is getting this thing took apart, get all the knobs off, clean all that, polish all the metal work. I'm not going to worry about too much about the nicks and scrapes on it, you know. That's just throughout history, you know, and it's telling that story. of what it's been through in its life, and we just want to preserve that. In fact, we might just take it and clean it, polish it, and then clear coat it, so it'll hold what it does have and won't continue to deteriorate over the years. Cabinet looks like it's been repainted several times. It's going to have to go into the blast cabinet, get all this old paint off and get the cabinet back repainted. And the only reason why is there's some rust on the cabinet that has to come out. Now this is something you always find a lot on the old Johnsons, is missing this plug. This is a 9-pin plug, and it's not an octal plug. It looks like one, but it's not. The pin spacing is a little different, and these are a bit hard to find. They are out there, you can look for them, and I noticed this one is missing. Someone has put some jumper wires in it, and the one in the Viking 2 is also missing. But we can see we still have an old style microphone jack, CW key. None of that has been changed out yet. There's like a crystal socket over here plugging in the VFO. So here is the Viking 2, and you know, it looks pretty good. Yes, you know, same thing. Front panel's going to need a lot of cleaning. All the knobs going to need cleaning, and the rings on the back of the knobs are going to need polishing. But you can see our VFO is not too bad looking. It's just going to need some cleaning. And probably going to need a quart of oil in it too. So yeah, she's going to need a lot of good cleaning and everything. But you know, the meter looks good in it. No problem at all on the meter. I then went through and checked, and all the controls on this one works with no problem. You see a little contaminants here and there. See that green crud that's built up on this, just wiping right off. You know, we'll get all this off and get it all polished up, and you'll be surprised that when you take this face and you give it a good polish, just how well it will turn out. Because you'll find a lot of times, you know, even though it's got rust on it, it's what it is little pinholes in the paint, and the rust builds up on top of it. And a lot of times that stuff will just clean right off, just with a little buffing. As you can see right there. Let's find another spot like that. You see some crud all up and down in here. You know, it just want to take a little buffing and cleaning. And you see just how much of it disappeared there. You see some haze on the front of it. Yeah, you know, it's starting to clean right up. And all I'm using on it just to do that is a product called Neverdull. Walmart sells it. And it's just a cotton with a buffing compound in it. So it'll take a little work, but we can get a lot of this here back looking like it's supposed to without having to do any repaint you know, the biggest thing is to stop the rust that's there, and then get some clear coat on it to keep it from going any further. You know, if we look up here on the top of the cabinet, we can see there's several places that's heavily rusted. And I'll put this in the blast cabinet with some walnut shells or something, so can we get it cleaned up so it can be repainted. Even the sides have some rust on it, but yeah, you know, it's going to be a lot of work, yes. And a lot of people say, man, I wouldn't put the time in this. When it comes to old antique pieces of equipment like this that are complete, the time is well worth it, because not only I mean, it's enjoyable to sit down and work on this old stuff like this. I got the top cover removed off of it, and you see it's not really that bad. It's just dirty, you know. But the good thing is it's all complete. Everything is here. The only thing that is missing is part of the finger stock that goes up here on the front. Half of it's in here. From about here up is gone, so I might need to find some more of that and put back in. But you can see our rectifier tubes here, our 6146 finals over here, modulation tubes, even the not really dial cord, but the string is still intact and inside of it. You see this big super heavy duty RF choke. Now, you know, a lot of times you take old radios and carry them out and spray them down, wash them off with a water hose, but there's just so much stuff in here that's can't be replaced. And you know, this core here is wire that has cloth covering on it, so you don't want to get all this damp, so, and especially these transformers and all this iron, you don't want to get it wet. And just, you know, cleaning, taking cleaning rags, getting here and washing and polishing. Even all this, that's one good thing about the Johnson. They did use a lot of sheet aluminum, you know, so you can get in here and, you know, just take the time with a little elbow grease. Get all this stuff to polish back up like a mirror. And this Never-Do is probably the best stuff I have ever seen for cleaning stuff. Not only can you clean aluminum, metal, if you have a meter that has a plastic lens, oh, it works wonders on that too. Well, I didn't have the camera on that, but you can see it starting to shine up right here. So yeah, we can clean all this metal, all this chassis back up, and just make it look super. Let's lift the skirt on it and see what we see underneath of it. Now, going under these radios is always part of the scary part to me, and you're seeing underneath of it for the first time as and we can already see somebody has been in here. The first thing I see is a 0.5 microfarad cap at 600 volts. Just lay it inside. We can see this cap here hanging loose. This is why you don't take this stuff and plug it in. You can see this choke is not even mounted. It's just sitting in there. I thought I heard something wiggling around when I was moving it. And there's a wire and a cap here that's been disconnected. And looking at it, maybe a stud right here There's something supposed to be bolted to. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to get the manuals and get in there and get a good look at it and see. But you know, other than that, other than being just dirty, because the compressed air would do a lot of cleaning, and then taking a toothbrush and some little fiber brush and just get in here and just clean this thing up real good, and see what we can find. You know, I'm not seeing any burn up components, which is a good thing. See the old bias resistor still in there, not smoked out, just good and dusty and crusty. I've got the cover off the Ranger, and this one, you know, just slides off the back. And looking at it here, you know, again, everything on the top side is in place. And she's got plenty of cobwebs and loose dirt, you know, a little rust around the transformer, but I bet a lot of that will brush right off. Without any problems at all. Just get them cleaned up and painted. You see, we got a relay right here that's going to need to be checked out because these coils will go open. Wafer switches, which is a good thing about these. These are ceramic type, so you can spray and clean on them all you want, and you don't have to worry about the phenolic boards soaking up the chemical and then coming apart on you. Let's get a look at the other side there. Getting around to this side. Okay, it's amber alert. You see everything here. We got some rust on the old meter here. We have to get all this took apart. We have to take this whole face plate off anyway, because we need to get into this VFO. Because after watching some of Terry's videos over at D-Lab, we know there's always some problems in the VFO that needs to be looked at. And I'm thinking this one is going to fall under that category also. Taking a look underneath of it, we see we got several old electrolytic caps that's going to have to be replaced. You can see somebody's already done some work here on these resistors. And then we have this. Not the right way to do stuff. Taped and laid into chassis. We can go back and mount the new capacitors up here on top of these standoffs and put the grounds down here, so we don't have to ground through these rods. In fact, I know I've seen Terry at D-Lab do that before. And there's that little cam mechanism I mentioned earlier. I think the biggest thing is that the knob is wanting to slip a lot. Yeah, I've tightened that up. And she seems to be working now. Uh-oh. She jammed up on us. Yep, we'll need a little bit of work here on this mechanism to get this his time just right so it goes through these slots. Yep, and then get some good, you know, some grease on it to keep it from seasoned up so bad so the little pins will slide through it. Other than that, she don't look too bad. You know, she's pretty clean underneath. Alright, so there you go. An old pair of Johnson Rangers from the 50s and 60s. Now, the guy that I got them from has challenged me to get one of them working by October. And he hangs out on 80 meters, and he's not too awful far away from me, so I think I'll go ahead and start with the Ranger and do a little work in the spare time, and let's go ahead and get it apart and let you guys ride along on this. So we'll be getting started on this in the near future. We'll just have to see how time goes, but yeah, I like to try to make this challenge and at least get it working, get one of them working by end of October. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, hope you enjoyed seeing these old boat anchors, and we'll catch you in the next video. See you now.